So I want to try something new. I'm actively trying to force myself to play completely different games, made by smaller indie developers. The aim is to finish at least one a month and then do a video about it, so watch out for these videos. If you have any indie titles that you recommend me trying out, please let me know down below in the comments. They won't always be new games or even big games by bigger indie developers. The first one I wanted to do was very much me being torn. I couldn't decide between Vampire Survivors or In Sound Mind, and after some careful consideration, I realised that there was probably a lot more that I could talk about with In Sound Mind, so I gave it a go. Now, I was told about this game from a friend, so it was in a Humble Bundle not too long ago, so I already had it in my library, and I thought, well, I might as well try and give it a go. So I stream over on Twitch, and I mainly play horror-based games, with the occasional, well, that could be funny kind of title. And this game is a psychological thriller game. It's a story-based adventure, which from the get-go sounds alright. When you get into the game, it's quite clear that there is something really weird going on, but it doesn't really make any sense for quite a while. And when I say quite a while, I really do mean quite a while. Now, I'll try to avoid spoilers as much as I can, but some of the best story parts are the best bits of the entire game, so I'll try and talk about them and just be as vague as I physically can. I also only really use gameplay from the first hour of this game in order to avoid any form of major spoilers. So you start off playing as this bloke. He's a psychologist. Everything seems incredibly normal for a small period of time, then suddenly it kind of goes off the rails. Your office building turns into some weird kind of maze, and then there's these weird light monsters running around the place with one big red eye, and it's all very confusing. Your role is to try and work out what has happened to the world, and why everything has just kind of run amok. You can tell that it's weird because your apartment and your office are on the same floor, just at different ends of this big building, which seems really weird to me. You basically have to run through the apartment building and find your old patients' apartments. This will unlock a little puzzle you have to solve in order to get their tapes, which to be honest is a very fun part of the game. You explore the houses, get to know a little bit more about them whilst trying to find this tape, and then the tape seems incredibly weird, but it's one of the most important parts of the game. So when you get the tape, you have to go and put it in a tape player in your office, and then it activates into a weird sequence where you have to go through this door, do some weird parkour whilst listening to the sessions between your character, the psychologist, and his patient. There's multiple patients in this and they all have completely different issues, which is kind of what makes this game so incredible. So once you've done that bit, you're put into a completely new part of the map. This is usually filled with puzzles, collectibles, and intricate parts of the story, which, I'll be honest, to begin with made absolutely no sense to me. Once you get into the next few patients' tapes though, it all kind of starts to add up. There's really a big story that they're trying to tell from the start of the game, which all starts to confer into the final scene. Watching all of the information build up, the tension, the terror, and the weird bits in between, it turns into something that we could just say is incredible. It's quite literally a deep dive into people's mental health. But most of them are all court-mandated therapies, so you know that there's been legal issues regarding their mental health. So, as you can imagine, some of the areas are really messed up. I'm fairly certain that all of them, or at the very least most of them, have died recently, and that's the reason why your character, Desmond, is so cut up about all of these issues and feels like he needs to try and find a connection between each of their deaths. Now, the devs have done an incredible job at combining loads of weird mechanics within this game. During each patient, you unlock new tools to use to try and deviate and finish puzzles, all of which can be used when you get into the apartment building too, allowing you to access even more areas. You get a shard of glass, some pills, and some weird electrical finding thingy-majig, which I still don't completely understand. There's also some optional bits that you can pick up. During my first playthrough, I just kind of completely forgot about them. These are stuff like the shotgun and the gas mask. Are they helpful? Yeah, very. But are they needed? No. It does make the game considerably more difficult without them though, and I learned that the hard way. The only tool that I'm really showing in this video, however, is the glass shard. This is a weird one because it shows glyphs of stuff when you use it, but obviously as this game is first person, it only shows behind you. It's really annoying to use, but it's also really fun. If you didn't already know this, it can also be used to help find pills to get your stats up, which is incredible. This game doesn't allow for people to get better stats by leveling up, hitting milestones, or anything that you would find in a typical adventure game. In this, you have to find these pills. There's multiple different types, and when you get 3 of each pill, it will increase that respected stat, such as health, stealth, or stamina. I thought this was an ingenious move considering the whole game is based around a psychiatrist who literally prescribes his patients these very drugs every single day. Now, I do think some of the mechanics need a little bit of work. The gunplay in this game did feel a little bit weird, it wasn't unusable, and it may have been a bit more of an issue with the movement of the actual light-based creatures, but it really did throw me off a little bit, especially during late game. The good thing about it though is that even during the late game you were never really that bad off when it comes to like ammo. You have access to quite a lot during the game, you also only have access to 2 guns, so if you can't find ammo for either of them you might end up just being a little bit screwed. But obviously stealth is a big thing throughout this game as well. The game has one of the best stories that I have ever seen in a game, and I'm not just saying that because I like the game either. It was incredibly interesting and it was so captivating. But sometimes you play through a game and you just kind of wish that it was over. Bearing in mind, I personally hate puzzle-based games because my IQ is not that of an average guy, but I found this really enjoyable. There's a load of exploration for you to do across multiple different settings, and I will admit, I got lost a fair few times. It didn't ever really seem to matter. Even though the sets are quite dark, they're quite mysterious, and sometimes they are a little bit odd, they all felt like they were in the right place for you to be, and some of them were just honestly beautiful. The music in this game is just top tier. The ensemble behind it are the Living Tombstone. These are most known for their songs about various video games like Five Nights at Freddy's. They've done a great job with scoring the entire game with music and voice acting, and the audio recordings felt incredibly real. There was so much emotion that it was almost like I was watching a blockbuster movie for a lot of the game. Some of the characters in this are just brilliant. The main antagonist is such a weird guy, and seeing him randomly just wandering around throughout the game had me in stitches. Now, I'm not entirely sure why he sometimes just sneaks around like a kid from a cartoon, trying not to get caught by his parents trying to rob the last Freddo out of the fridge, but he does it and it looks great. One of my favourite characters is the cat. As you can tell from a lot of their publishings and marketing that they've done for the game, they're also incredibly happy about the fact that they've added a cat into this game. Although, when she talks, the mouth does kind of creep me out a little bit, I'm not going to lie. Now, I'm not really going to talk about the ending to this game, but I will say one thing about it. It's brilliant. I can't really go into any more details, but trust me when I say that it was one of my favourite parts, and it was the main part that I wanted to be able to replay. They also have multiple endings for the game, but so far I haven't really found them or found out what's so different about them. I'm only really aware of them because of the Steam achievements, so it would be interesting to revisit and see if I can find some of them at some point when the game isn't as fresh in my mind. So a massive well done to the guys over at We Create Stuff Studios. I really do look forward to playing more of the games that you guys come out with in the future. This game is now out on all major platforms, including very recently that they've released this game over on the Nintendo Switch 2. There'll be an affiliate link in the description to get the game over at CD Keys, just in case you fancy giving this a go. I really hope you've enjoyed the video. Remember to hit the like button and let me know down below what you thought of the game, or if you're planning to pick up a copy yourself. Hit that subscribe button if you're new, so you don't miss out on any other indie treasures like this, and I'll catch you next time. Have a good one.